No, I can't do the video. Are you f***ing kidding me? I'm not gonna get put on a list and lose my job. You know, like Jimmy Kimmel. It's just like he always said, we're just victims of the in-house drive-by. They say jump, we say how high. I love you too, Mom. Bye. I had a whole video planned and now I gotta pivot. Lately, it feels like everybody has a take on this Coldplay kiss cam thing. From feeling bad for them to just like mainlining Schadenfreude. I'm like somewhere in the middle, mainly because while destroying a CEO's life is one of modern society's few uniting pastimes, we're not supposed to do that, you know? So I'm making this video to kind of exercise the ick and to justify to myself that it's okay to feel good when bad things happen to bad people. This video is absolutely definitely about the Coldplay kiss cam couple. I'm a firm believer in empathy, but I also believe that, you know, like everything in life, that's like a balancing act. Okay, so who is Andy Byron? Andy was a married man. His soon-to-be former wife apparently deleted her Facebook right after the incident. Never a good sign. I mean, what is monogamous marriage but a pact of trust in a person's honor and integrity as a moral human being? Married people are supposed to be making a promise of exclusivity, sealed with their love for one another. Unless you're like getting hitched for financial reasons, which I don't know, I'm not Megan. Does kind of seem like why you marry a CEO. I don't know, maybe it was for love, maybe it was for the money. I don't really care about splitting hairs here. The only thing that matters is that they made that promise of exclusivity to each other. I can try and explain this in CEO language for Andy if he's watching. Whatever extramarital business they want to conduct must be approved in advance by both parties. And now this kiss cam thing is like a breach of contract. The people at his former company Cyber Reason said he kinda sucked. He wouldn't let anybody challenge his viewpoints and then fired them when they did. An employee in 2018 said, people used to love working for the company. Now they hate it. And a lot of people are describing what's happening to him as karmic. And to me, that's really interesting because I think about karma like a ledger of moral debt. For my nerds out there, almost like G.E. Toe in real time. What you put into the world, you receive back. An equal and opposite exchange. To obtain, something of equal value must first be given up. That is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange. To become a CEO of a tech company, there are inevitably going to be people that you exploit along the way. And that exploitation expresses itself as like more and more money in your account. But why? Here's the part of the video where we get into everybody's favorite topic, capitalism. In a perfect capitalist society, when you run a company, your employees are effectively selling you their life force in exchange for a tool that will allow them to improve their life in some way in their off hours. It's your job as a CEO to take that labor and turn it into a surplus of the tool that allows people to improve their lives. Gotta have money in the reserves in case business is slow at some point. So conceptually speaking, what happens when the CEO starts taking all that surplus money for themselves? I mean, I guess by my definition, that means they're stealing the life force of their employees like some kind of vampire. When you put it in terms like that, is kind of a breach of trust between employer and employee. You know what else is a breach of trust? When you're like a staunch defender of the Second Amendment. Stop it, Travis. You're not making a video about. Okay, so HR is supposed to be the department you turn to when you're suspecting your boss is having an affair with one of his employees. I don't know, Kristen seems like the worst person to go to if your boss is having an affair with one of his employees, because she was the one doing it. I don't know how I feel about Kristen, because like, this is patterned behavior. Her first husband was like a shoe company executive. Then she married the CEO of Privateer Rum. And before that divorce is even final, here she is with Andy at a Coldplay concert. Kristen is wild, man. I kind of get the appeal of these people. It's like, yeah, just kind of gotta be impressed by that level of confidence. I'm reporting all that information a month later when my hindsight is 2020, because I'm not gonna be some gossip rag getting all the information wrong. So many outlets misreported that Kristen was cheating on her husband. There's a lot of slop about this drama. That's why it took me so long to make this video. It's definitely not because I'm pivoting from something else. And the reason I'm making this video now, and not because I'm pivoting, is because Andrew Cabot finally spoke out about the whole kiss cam thing. It says here that a spokeswoman for Andrew Cabot clarified that he and Kristen were already privately and amicably separated several weeks before the Coldplay concert. The decision to get divorced was apparently already in motion before the concert footage was even made public. So there you have it. I guess only one of the people in this situation was cheating on their family. It's a moral win. And I'm glad he finally came out and said that, because I've been sifting through a bunch of gossipy muck for the last couple of days since I pivoted to this video. The problem with the news nowadays is that it's moving so fast that you can't trust like the initial reporting. It just gets everything wrong. Right, this is 2025 and the truth doesn't matter anymore. They're just gonna manufacture whatever lie they need to justify like a civil war. And I'm so tired. This isn't a video about Stop it. Where was I? Spreading rumors without knowing all the facts. I probably shouldn't partake in that. Think about how many articles are ingested by AI every day before they have information redacted or updated. Is it rescraping the articles to retrain itself? How often does it do that? Now, I'm not immune to profiling somebody, and I'm gonna do that right now. Based on Kristen's track record of husbands, I think it's fair to say she's got a type. CEOs. It's like a big red flag that maybe she's more interested in money and advancing her career than she is in like love or protecting her employees from Andy's apparently awful behavior. I don't know. So while I feel bad for her, I guess I don't feel too bad that her career is now moving in the opposite direction. They cheated their way into this position, and cheaters never prosper. There's this great meme about how seemingly every summer there's a CEO who is like sacrificed for our entertainment. And what makes that so funny is the catharsis it brings like 99% of the people reading it. The only people who get upset about a CEO cheating on his wife and getting caught and then having that amplified to the entire internet and destroying their life and career are other CEOs who cheat on their spouses. For the rest of us, it represents like the ultimate Schadenfreude for people oppressed by capitalism. We're talking about the Coldplay kiss cam couple. So with Andy and Kristen, it's pretty easy to just point and laugh at them and not feel bad about it at all. Andy and Kristen were playing a game and lost in the most spectacular way possible. All right, with all that out of the way, we can finally talk about that word I keep saying, Schadenfreude. No idea if I'm saying that right. One of the most complex emotions we can experience, made famous by the play Avenue Q. And since I know my mom is watching and has never heard that word nor seen that play, roll the clip.
Schadenfreude, huh? Well, what's that, some kind of Nazi word?
Yep, it's a word for happiness and misfortune of others.
Happiness and the misfortune of others. Huh, that is German.
I love Avenue Q. I got to see that years ago in Midland, Michigan, which is actually the birthplace of the concept of the Overton window. Midland, not Avenue Q. Anyway, a lot of the least empathetic people that I know seem to be following the same pearl-clutching script whenever tragedy befalls a member of the ruling class. It's this performative little rhetorical trick. Maybe you saw it in the aftermath of the Ocean Gate submarine implosion. Anyone celebrating this is a monster. Or, if you think the death of a human is funny, you're a sicko. I mean, gosh, they have a point. How can I call myself a proper American if I didn't fly my flag at half-mast for the United Healthcare CEO? He provided so many of our fired government workers with the worst healthcare possible. What a hero! My one dying wish is to have healthcare not cover my surgery. Now what am I gonna do? What this language is trying to do is a pretty common tactic among the worst people that you know. It's demonizing humanity's natural inclination towards certain emotions, like Schadenfreude, by weaponizing guilt. Something that anybody who grew up Catholic knows a lot about, am I right? So why does this emotion exist? Is it proof that every one of us is possessed by the devil like my catechism teacher taught? At its core, Schadenfreude isn't simply about cruelty. It's about our innate sense of justice and fairness. When we perceive someone as having accumulated disproportionate power, wealth, or influence, especially through means we consider questionable, their downfall can trigger a sense of moral balance being restored. In this 2015 research paper called Their Pain, Our Pleasure, Stereotype Content in Schadenfreude by Mina Sakara and Susan Fisk, points to three main triggers for Schadenfreude. First is a sense of justice. When somebody who's harmed others faces consequences for their actions, our pleasure isn't necessarily about their pain, it's about the restoration of moral order. Second, there's this self-evaluation process with Schadenfreude. Everybody's insecure about something, and when highly successful people stumble, it makes us feel a little bit better about ourselves. See, even this tech CEO isn't perfect. Third, group identity. When somebody we see as opposed to our values and identity faces a setback, it can feel like validation of our worldview. I'm poor, that CEO. So those are the triggers for Schadenfreude. And like any emotion, we gotta process it. We're feeling this emotion, what are we gonna do with it? Do we use moments of accountability to reflect on systems that need changing? I don't know, say in the need for gun control laws in the wake of an assassination. Or do we simply revel in a person's downfall? This is where Schadenfreude lives, the line between justice and vengeance, between accountability and cruelty, between empathy and nihilism. The very balanced point upon which human nature teeters. It's that last comparison, empathy and nihilism, that I want to take a closer look at. Like I said earlier, whenever our meme rears its ugly head, the least empathetic people that you know suddenly want your empathy. So, did they earn it? I want to go back to Mina Sakara's research paper on Schadenfreude. The capacity for empathy is one of the most important faculties that humans possess. It is a powerful motivator of pro-social behavior and cooperation, cornerstones of humanity's most cherished interpretations of sociality and responsibility. Empathy is also, for better or worse, bounded. People don't empathize with everyone all the time. Specifically, people often feel less empathy for outgroup members, individuals who belong to groups which the observer is not a part. This intergroup empathy bias matters because failure of empathy in response to suffering of outgroup members predicts an absence of pro-social responding, and a lack of empathy for outgroups can place them beyond the bounds of apparent ethical relevance. I think this gives us a really good framework to build a hierarchy through which we can manage our emotional response to tragedies befalling high-profile figures. How people respond to others' pain depends on their pre-existing prejudices towards the target of the misfortune. Pity or empathy are common responses, but hardly universal. An alternative response, Schadenfreude, refers to the perceiver's experience of pleasure at another's misfortune. Several conditions commonly predict Schadenfreude. I'm gonna break these out into the bottom rung of the D&D alignment chart. Humans possess this entire spectrum, but I think feeling pleasure at other people's pain is firmly in this bottom evil area here. So lawful evil, we understand this even if we don't agree with it. In this response, there's mechanics at play that go beyond just benefiting from someone else's misfortune. It's a process for how the evil functions that serves a greater purpose within the overall framework of human emotion. The alignment chart. Neutral evil is that sort of, I don't know, seems like the universe just kind of balancing itself out, man. Approach that's still acceptable, but in a cold, detached kind of way. For me, this is where most Schadenfreude lives. Chaotic evil is asshole behavior, typically frowned upon in polite society. And that's typically what people think of when they think of Schadenfreude. So, to recap, when the misfortune benefits the observers, that's lawful evil. When the misfortune seems deserved, that's neutral evil. And when the misfortune befalls an envied target, that's chaotic evil. Now, let's take a look at our Coldplay kiss cam couple and evaluate. Their misfortune doesn't exactly benefit me, so we can't put it at the most basic, acceptable level. That's fine. Their misfortune does seem deserved, though. They were committing a social faux pas. Adultery is one of the 10 bad ones in a Christian-dominated society. And then I'm not sure I really envy the CEO here. It's not like a job I've ever wanted. But I guess there is a little bit of envy tucked away in there somewhere, because I want to have as much money as that guy's got. Imagine all the good I could do with that instead of whatever the hell he's doing. Yeah, I can't deny that a little bit of envy plays a part in my Schadenfreude here. So where are we at? Yeah, that could be worse, could be better, but still firmly within the sphere of acceptability. We did it. Nobody got hurt, nobody died. Our emotions are innocent of baggage. And that's why it's 100% justified to vilify them and make fun of them. We can now say, with 100% certainty, the Coldplay kiss cam couple deserve our ridicule. We got there. We've exercised the ick. It's okay to feel good when bad things happen to bad people. It's like literally the basis of every movie you've ever watched. You want to see the bad guy go down. I don't know, I guess if you want my opinion about the United Healthcare CEO, then go check out the video I made about the Low Spark of High Heel Boys by Traffic, one of my favorite songs of all time. And would you look at that, a happy ending. It turns out they weren't having an affair, you guys. They were just friends all along. The reason they were acting so guilty is because they didn't want anybody getting the wrong impression. So I guess we can just sweep this all under the rug now and he can get his job back.